Then I will.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pokondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Hey. Reliable information. History. Ooh. Talking about culture. Hey. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Hey. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On Point. If it's 4 o'clock on the East Coast, it is On Point. Usually, we are the folks that will tell it to you exactly as it is, whether you like it or not. What the Liberian people say, take it or leave it. That's why it is here On Point, because we are on point. We have the best minds. We have the best of the best. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 of the best minds from Liberia discuss issues. With me is our Honorable A. Boyka Dukle. Has nothing to do with the other Boyka, just Dukle. Honorable Dukle, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gaiman. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Our political is that progressive advisor, you name it, J. Victor Namwe, my partner in crime from the UPP days, and we are still UPPians. Are you doing here, sir?
Still standing. How are you, Jerome? Good afternoon also to Joe and Boakai. It's good to be here. Also, good afternoon to our listening audience. Thanks for joining us. Please share the show.
He said, don't use the Boyka name, just call him Duke Clay. Mr. Tawo, how you doing, sir? How's Houston?
I'm doing very good, and Houston is good. I'm glad to be here. Hi to my fellow panelists and to our viewers. I'm glad to be here to be part of the discussion this afternoon.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor, share this show, share in your network, share on your platform. Let's get this thing going. We'd love to have your input. You have the telephone number there. You can call at some point, and we can actually share ideas. We do not have exclusive rights and monopoly on ideas and suggestions to the government or issues affecting our government. We expect that you will also have an input. You can call, you can write in the comment section, and we will definitely entertain your thoughts. This is why we are here. We are here to be on point. Mr. Dukle, we usually not pick topics in our sleep because Liberia is like a bank that just keeps giving. You don't need any credit. You don't need any background check. You just walk in there. The news is there. I mean, the news is so much that we have to be selective now. At some point, we need to be sitting down and say, what will make the news? Now we don't even have to do that. In Liberia, we have a major issue, and it is serious. The United States government is saying they are contemplating on basically restricting visa to Liberian citizens. This is bad. When we ask for targeted sanction, when they sanction someone like Mr. McGill and the rest of the folks, it makes sense. But this time around, the United States is punishing the entire nation. Your take as a diplomat, your take, what's happening?
Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. I read this story, and I didn't really quite digest it at first, but in retrospect, thinking about it now, I did understand where this might be coming from. But uh, it speaks more about the United States government than that of the Liberian government. The posture of the Donald Trump government is one that is, pro-American first. And in that pro-American first, a lot of things are going to happen that is not in the interest of the United States. Because I can tell you, despite all what the United States has and all what it can do, economically, militarily, and otherwise, despite that, I think the United States, in a way, they will still need some of these countries, including Liberia, for either bilateral reasons or otherwise. So I personally thought, or I would have expected, like you said in your intro there, that if Liberian were going to be denied visa, it would have been a targeted a policy where people who have been identified as corrupt officials, people who have been involved in malfeasances of the government and otherwise, to be able to prevent them as a way of punishing them. But this policy of just denying the entire nation visa, I think, in my opinion, is very short-sighted. It doesn't serve the global interest of the United States. But again, I think with that said, you need a kind of a skillful diplomacy here in order to skillfully engage the United States.
But
so that
Honorable Barker, let me hold you there. You are saying that the United States doesn't serve the United States' best interest, but the United States is saying United States first. And how could you say it doesn't serve the interests of the American people when they are saying we are spending enough money, we are spending a lot of money, and these people do not want to hold up to even the basic tenets of democracy? We don't want to deal with them. Why would you say it doesn't serve their interest?
Yeah, it doesn't serve the interest in that if you just blanketly say that you're going to prevent visa for the nation of Liberia, then you are not serving your own interests, because there are other interests of the United States that is in Liberia that is not with the government. There are interests of the United States of the United States of America in Liberia that has nothing to do with the government of Liberia, and so it has to do with the public diplomacy. It has to do with a lot of other things that the United States does that has nothing to do with the national government of Liberia. So, and that's why I said in my presentation here that I expected this to be a targeted policy where people who have been engaged in corruption, people who have been engaged in something that is considered anti-democratic for the people of Liberia, it should be the one targeted. So for that reason, I strongly believe that this blanket policy does not serve the interest of the United States of America. Remember, in politics, perception is reality. So, for the United States to say that nobody will be granted visa from Liberia, remember there are individuals and institutions in Liberia that are doing business in the United States that benefit both Liberia and the United States. And I don't mean this at the official level, but I mean on an individual level. So when I say that it doesn't serve the United States interest, that's what I'm referring to specifically. So uh, not everything that happens in Liberia has to do with the Liberian government, and so not everything that happens in the United States has to do with the United States government. And so when you are involved in diplomacy, there are a lot of factors that you need to take into account. One of which is the impact of your policy on the local people, on the people who are not politicians, on the people who are not decision makers, and so I will tell you one of the key things that the USAID was doing in Liberia was engaging the non-governmental agencies that are working with the people. So in some instances, the USAID will directly fund some of these agencies away from the government, and that was to strengthen the ties of the American people with the Liberian people. So that's got nothing. Yeah, the funding was coming from the United States government, but it was coming directly to the Liberian people who were the beneficiary of those assistance. So when I say that it will hurt the United States interest, that's what I mean.
Great. Mr. Tao, uh, you know, one of the things that I heard from President Ruto, former president of, no, not Ruto, Kenyatta, the former president of Kenya, he says, why are Kenyans upset? You don't pay taxes in the United States. You have your own money. You are endowed. Now go ahead and be independent. Stand on your feet for once and stop being sucking on somebody's breast. All these years, they took it away. Instead of you getting on your feet, you are crying. What is your take, Mr. Tao?
Okay. First, when it comes to the Uhuru Kenyatta stuff, let those guys keep quiet. Because he was the same person that when he was in power, instead of him taking steps that will invest in his people, they were all squandering and they were looking to the US to still fund programs. And now that he's not in power, he's trying to pull some political punches. So let those guys keep quiet. But look, when it comes to what's going on in Liberia in terms of the visa restriction, all of this stuff, remember, I don't know if we are paying attention, but this is something I've been following for a long time. What you call there is tectonic shift globally that is taking place. The world is undergoing restructuring, and every other serious people are recognizing this, and everybody's positioning themselves. New alliances are being formed. This is the one problem that is in the US here. They have their corporations and their what you would call non-national groups, which is their BlackRock, their Bank of America, their Boeing, which the Trumps and the Soros and the who Gates and the Musk and the Bezos, they're all part of this group. They operate in a way where they operate on a global level, where whether it's in the interest of the US or not, it has to be in the interest of that corporation. You know that the US is run by corporations and not the other way around. It's not so the corporation are more powerful. After they ran their own country this way, deindustrialized so that they can maximize profit and all of this stuff, they all became very wealthy. Things are bad. The power, the global dominance is reducing and shrinking. The people of America, we are here. It's very difficult here in this country or just in the West, for generally. Now, the other powers that taking them that have actually seized in that area, instead of them pointing out that they screw up so that they can make actual adjustment, because this has to do with the visa stuff. They are now trying to convince their people that it's somebody else that is responsible, that is some immigrant. So you see this whole anti-immigrant sentiment that is brewing, which me and you could easily be at risk. Because what it does, it whip up all kinds of stuff. So all of this stuff that they will suspend here for 60 days and for all of this stuff, it is all the talk so that they can make the people, because the people to feel some type of way. But when you come to, so that's what most of the stuff is. Yes, when you look at it directly in Liberia, it affects individuals who, as Mr. Dukley said, that on an individual level, they're doing things here. There are people I know in Liberia that never really live here, but they have accounts here to do businesses and stuff here. And the US did not stop them from opening the account. And they have money, they have investments here. So what happens if they wanted to come to check on the investments? All of a sudden they can't come. So those are some political stuff that they're just doing. Pointing out immigrants, grabbing people, bringing them to Guantanamo Bay, and you see the people are rejoicing. But they're not looking that it is not these people that are responsible. What job are the immigrants taking? Is it picking oranges? Is it but on a general scale? Because if you look at the actual immigrant population, like from Africa, because I'm not talking about everywhere else, that occupy major areas that can compete with the actual Americans, just a small percentage. The vast majority of the immigrants, they do labor work. And so these are the people that they're grabbing all over the place. They're not coming to the guys that are at the top areas, the scientists, this one and that one. No. I work across many labs. And in the entire US, when you're talking about cutting-edge scientific research and R&D, it's all foreigners. It's all foreigners. From China to Africa to India to the former Soviet guys and everywhere else. So all of this stuff, yes, it affected Liberian, but I'm just saying the area from which it's coming from. You will see that this present president here, this present administration in America, that policies, you can just see them throwing in 1 minute, they will fire 500 people here. Another minute, it reversed. So they're just like all over the place, and they're throwing these things so that they can make the people feel that something, that they're actually after something. But yes, African country Liberia, they can penalize them to some extent. But at the end of the day, you will see that they just make those announcements, it will go away, and Liberians will continue to get visa and will come in to Liberia.
Great.
That is what I see.
Great. Mr. Namwe, we are looking at a platitude of issues that Liberia faces. I was talking to another reliable source. They are talking about the constant sales of diplomatic passports, Liberian passport, to anyone that has the money to pay. We are talking about, according to other media sources here, that a diplomatic passport is going for $150,000 US per passport. We are talking about the fracas in the legislature. We are talking about the security of the state, where the police and the army are fighting in broad daylight in the streets. We are seeing motorcyclists. We are seeing the very essence of the economy of the country. Okay? I mean, there's chaos everywhere. Shouldn't the American people be very concerned that this is not just about, if these people do not get their act together within the next 60 days, they do not deserve to even visit their country?
No, I actually agree with you. I'm not sure this has anything to do with immigration. This is about keeping America secure or safe, and even keeping the rest of the world safe. For a very long time, passport sale has been this.
All of you can hear me?
Yes, sir. You got a terrible camera. Don't go to Walmart to buy a camera next time. Buy the real.
Come on, Kevin.
Go ahead.
So the for a long time the concern, especially in recent past, from the days of Charles Taylor, so the coming into being of Al Qaeda and ISIS, there have been concerns that these outfits are using poor countries like countries on the sub-Saharan continent, where they can easily go and buy their way into the international community by buying passports from this country, which would then kind of legitimize them as citizens, because some of them really they're like countryless, but they have enormous amounts of money, and so the suspicion has been that they come in there and they use these countries, such as our country, where they come and obtain passports, which then enforce them the opportunity to travel and move large sums of money that they use to buy, weapons. And of course, you remember the blood diamond and all of that. These are some of the considerations. And so I understand Liberia has been warned on several occasions, but we haven't been able to get our act together. And then in the past maybe 20 years or so, the sale of Liberian passport has really peaked. I was trying to find the data. I hope I'll lay my hands on it again. But these are the concerns. And so the US government is really telling our people, look, we're lucky because there are 43 countries on this list, and there are three categories, the most stringent being red and then orange. We are in the yellow category. That gives us time to clean up our act. And after the 60 days, we could find ourselves, in the yellow category. I understand the yellow category is not an absolute ban, but where people have to go and do, particular interviews and stuff like that, to kind of, another layer of screening before they obtain visas. And so the short side of the story is our government really need to streamline our passport division, especially. We have to make sure that the measures that we use, to screen people for passports, that we tighten up, because apparently our security process that we use that qualifies you for a passport. I mean, I have seen, I'm sure some of you have seen, you've run into people who don't look Liberian at all, and they claim to be Liberians. And this is, my passport in particular, my passport, my wife's and my son's passport got stolen at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs during the Emma Sawyer time. Somebody went around the world with my name and my passport. I reported that to the ministry, but these things are happening. And so the U.S. concern really has absolutely nothing to do with immigration. I think these are legitimate security concerns, and our government needs to really tighten up. Over the past few days, there was this furor over, Yola calling for targeted sanctions. But if this is not addressed, this is going to put a larger group, and innocent people, may be put on this list and get hurt simply because of situation that is not of their creating. So, the government has to really take this seriously and do what needs to be done. Go to the embassy, get clarifications, reach the State Department, get clarifications. If you have to ask for help, call them in to help you tighten up your screening process. But our process is very porous, and these are very legitimate concerns. I don't think it is fair for us to blame America for doing this. This is exactly the point, to penalize those who do not want to conform to international norms.
Thank you. Mr. Twan, can you hear me? We can't see you that well, but can you hear us?
Oh, the volume is bad also.
Mr. Twan. Mr. Twan, we can't see you, we can't hear you. Go out and come back in.
Okay, Mr.
Duclay, yeah.
No, I wanted to just I don't want to interrupt. I just want to kind of
go ahead.
Address something quick.
Yeah, go
Look
ahead.
at what happened here. This stuff have nothing to do with security, unless we want to, or unless we don't understand how the U.S. operate. So what security? What security is the U.S. going to be afraid of, for which they are going to sanction the whole Liberian population. There are two reasons for which they may want to do this. You know that these things are used as coercive forces to extract something from weak nations. This is how it has always been done. Either the US is trying to push an uprising of the citizens to remove a government, and then so what they do, they will target the population to force them to turn them against the government. But I don't think that is what they're trying to do. At least I don't think so. If the government is the one that is messing up, why are you targeting the whole population? Why? You see Boyka, you see what is his name? Gafuan, you see all these people. Then target them because they're the one making the decisions. You see the Chief Justice, you see the senators and the representatives. But if you're going to blanket the whole population, then what is the agenda? So it's not about Boko Haram. All the evidence is there. There was no Boko Haram and none of that stuff in the Sahel region until Africa was formed and they came there. In that region where Boko Haram is thriving and doing all this stuff. That is where they have the largest NATO presence. And the more their presence is there, the stronger Boko Haram get. Is that coincidence? No. So if you have to fight terrorism, if you show up somewhere, then terrorism must show up there in order for you to justify fighting it. Now, if we understand that concept, then that is why, but I don't think this has anything to do with security.
Great. None. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Point. Please share this show. Share this show in your chat room.
If I'll get 5 seconds.
Go ahead.
So I forgot his name, but Mr. Tao, when you get a chance, go to the September 29, 2020 edition. Real Wamplo. This guy was the director of Passport. I'm sure you remember the story. He was saying a lot about this syndicate that exists at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And in fact, he was saying we're on the time bomb. I think this is the time bomb right now that he was talking about. Look, I don't disagree with you. Maybe this could have been targeted, but the fact of the matter is there are concerns over the manner in which screening is done at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There are people who are carrying Liberian passports who have absolutely no business carrying Liberian passports. And some of these people come from countries that are banned from entering the United States, but because they have Liberian passports, they are subverting, I believe that's the word, but they're bypassing the process. And they're able to gain entry into the U.S. and this is concerning.
Not just regular passport. We're talking about diplomatic passport.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right. Okay, Honorable Dukley, here we go. Let me pick it back on what the young man is saying here. Why there might be some semblance of truth to that. We cannot negate the fact that our folks are involved into corruptible attitudes that are causing this country to be jittery. And I'll give you some example. I think during the past administration, there was a terrorist guy that was arrested in Washington, D.C. for having a Liberian diplomatic passport and were doing business between Liberia, the U.S., and Qatar and UAE and other areas of concern in the Middle East. I was in Liberia in January, and I was at one of the embassies, and one of their fear was that Liberia has become a transit point for drug from South and Central America.
Talk about $100 million and then $40 million back to back.
Oh, now, not only that, but a plane of narcotics and possible terrorists landed in Liberia. Nobody knew who they were. They went to Mexico on a charter flight, and Mexico found out that these people came from Liberia with no travel law. This is dangerous, Mr. Honorable Dukley. You are the diplomat here. We are talking about things that we cannot. Our government cannot say they have a clean hand. When a Dutch fellow made a film, he came to Liberia, bought passport, and not only did he buy the passport, but they made him honorary consul general to, I think, the Congo, and he made a film. If that is not security threat, I don't know what is, Mr. Dukley.
Well, Mr. Gaiman, I would tell you, I haven't had some personal experience with this, And when I mean personal experience, I simply mean a gentleman who is, as I speak to you right now, who is still employed in the Liberian Foreign Service. This gentleman was actually involved in selling Liberian passports to non-Liberians. But with that aside, I can tell you um, that concern of security reasoning, it does have some legitimacy to it, because I can tell you from firsthand knowledge that this practice of selling Liberian diplomatic passport proliferated during the course of the Civil War. And I can tell you also that there are people in Liberia who are from the Middle Eastern background, who are also involved in a lot of things that are supposed to be concerning to the Liberian government when it comes to security. And so, in that instance, the United States government does have a legitimate concern about security of its people because of Liberian people carrying Liberian passport. I know a particular instance where a gentleman who was of a Palestinian origin did have a Liberian diplomatic passport, and this gentleman was involved in a lot of things that were not that was not appropriate for a diplomatic passport holder. And so I will agree that yes, there should be a consequence, and that's why I would say to you, why can't this be targeted instead of it being blanketed? You know, by targeted, I mean what the issues are and you address them instead of involving the entire population. And again, this can be a you can put the Liberian government on notice in terms of so that they can clean up their act when it comes to issuing their passports, diplomatic passports in particular. And the documentary by the Danish filmmaker, I don't remember what year it was, but this filmmaker went to Liberia. He spoke to people who were Liberian diplomatic passport holders, who were not diplomats, who were not Liberians, but they had the diplomatic passport. So there is a concern here that needs to be addressed. I agree with that. And so there are plenty of instances where people were given diplomatic Liberian passport when they were not Liberians, they were not diplomats, and all that, simply because they could afford to pay whatever was asked of them. I agree. I mean, it doesn't pose a threat to only the United States, it does pose the threat even to the Republic of Liberia, the country that issued them this passport, because some of these individuals, they are engaged in activities that they could not easily carry on these activities if they don't have a passport like a diplomatic passport. And so, if anything, that speaks to us as a government. And so, for that reason, it is only appropriate for sanctions or whatever it is to be targeted. Mr. Gaiman, I don't know if anybody on this panel can remember one former secretary of the ECOWAS, one Dr. Abbas Bundu of Sierra Leone, who was also involved in selling Sierra Leonean diplomatic passport when he was foreign minister or when he was associated with the foreign service of Sierra Leone. So this is not something new. This is not something that is just popping up today. It's only that now a new light has been shown on it, and it's now sort of a primary on people's agenda. And so when the United States says that they are concerned, I think the concern needs to be targeted. So is the sanction that is associated with it. It needs to be targeted, because again, like I said, remember in the State Department there is a position of I think Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Public Diplomacy, and so public diplomacy simply means engaging the people and not the government. And so on the diplomatic level, this can be issued. This can be dealt with. And so I was saying earlier that we need to engage the United States diplomatically. And that's where you need your skilled diplomats to engage the United States so that the areas that have been identified can be dealt with. And
But
the way, yes,
listen,
yes,
honorable. I mean, we got to go to the next topic here. But what you were saying here, I'm not playing the devil's advocate here. Mr. Namwe, listen to this. This is not about one issue. Basically, this is like a performance review of this government. We are talking about the entire nation is upside down when you talk about the rule of law. When you talk about, when they say joint security, top of that list is the military and the police. And these people they are fighting faced. We're not talking about fighting, we're talking about faced fight in the streets. We are talking about the legislative branch of the government is non-existent. And the executive is using this pseudo executive branch or legislative branch, sign a budget with almost $800 million, and they are dividing among themselves. And you say here, thank you, Mr. Gay, for coming in. Let me send this to you, and then you can go. Then we'll move on to the next one. We'll start with here we are. We are talking about there's nothing in the nation for the time you were born, I was born, and we've been here. We have never seen the house upside down. We have never seen police and soldiers fighting in the street. We have never seen any of these things. And the United States is giving you 60 days to put things in order. Not one issue, but they are whole. I mean, you have a choice. Mr. Gay, deal with this here.
Well, Liberia needs to come. First of all, good evening to every one of you on the platform and our followers. Good to be back on the show. Liberia needs to hit the reset button. There has not been any good thing since the administration have come into office. It has always been this downward spiral running down the slippery slope and kind of thing. It is unfortunate that a person of his stature, the president I meant, President Joseph Yamambuaka, who have had extensive government experience, coming to office, have brought in many other people who have worked in government before in his current administration to be experiencing what we are seeing today. It is not good for our nation. It doesn't matter which side of the spectrum you are. This is not a good image for Liberia, with the impact on the Capitol Hill for Liberia, also for a Ghanaian, speaker to come to our country trying to resolve our legislative issue. That in itself is a disservice to our people and a disgrace on the international front. We should be able to, handle our own circumstances in our country. This passport issue and the 60-day notice. I think when Madam Beslo Nyenti came into office, that was one of the things that she wanted to do. I heard her talking about, revamping the passport thing. How many people have had, but we have criminals. We have this guy who was in, had an issue in Japan, got arrested in Japan. Is currently holding the Liberian diplomatic passport. There are other individuals who also have criminal history with the Liberian diplomatic passport. These things are not good things. We already have our own things happening in the country for people to be holding diplomatic passport and things like that. Oh, I adjust this thing. My apologies. We should not be, talking about these things. Liberia should be talking about investors coming to the country, creating jobs for the young people, sparking out the macroeconomy of our country, not to be, giving ultimatum and reestablishing ourselves diplomatically. I think this is not a good thing for Liberia. We need to be far behind, these kind of things and be looking forward in the future. We are too far behind technically in Liberia. Over 25 years, we are behind with technology. We need to be able to catch up with the rest of the region. And yeah, we today talking about 60-day ultimatum with the diplomatic passport thing. So our plate is full. We need to do better than this.
Thank you. Mr. Twan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. The question here, we can't see you, so we have you on the phone. You close us on this particular subject of America giving us a yellow card, which is a warning. We have 60 days to clean up our act, or they will impose visa restriction on all Liberians. What is your take?
Well, this is a problem that has been on for a very long time. And we have governments in Liberia, one after the another, they don't care. We have government has national responsibility and international responsibility. You cannot ignore your international responsibility. Since the war, this has been the behavior of the Liberian government. They don't care for the international community. They are receiving all the benefits, but they are not playing their part by respecting international law, the treaty. Liberia signed over 22 international treaties. Okay, and Liberia is behind 250 of those treaty obligations that they're not implementing. So that is a long story. For the first time, I agree with President Trump. What he's doing, that maybe it will go. And what's going to happen is they're going to put Liberia under further scrutiny. There'll be a lot of stuff coming up. Okay, Mr. Boaga said he's bringing war crown code, but he don't know he don't know who he bringing on to do this thing. These are things that the people are looking at. How can you say you suspend war crown code until the next 5 years? Well, that's when you will be out of office. So you guys touch on a lot of stuff, which I agree to. The drug trafficking, passport fraud, human trafficking. These are issues that the international community have been pounding a hand on Liberia. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. How can $100 million of drugs get missing in Liberia? $100 million. Okay. One time, the judge in Banca arrested 11 drug dealers. They were released when they turned them over to Morovia. They were released. So I don't know what to do, man. It's a very, very, very. Someone talk about reset that I agree with that. I think we need to have. I think we need to have a reset of government, not just we need to restructure the entire Liberian government. It's a mess. There's nothing we're going to get out of this government for the next 6 years, and the people are dying. Okay. In 1997, let me give you guys some background and history. In 1997, when Taylor was running to be president, I went with a group of ministers. To the State Department. Y'all can hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I went with some group of ministers to the State Department to bargain whether Liberians could vote here in the U.S. You know what the guy told us at the desk? He said, we don't know who is a Liberian here in the United States. That was 1997. Okay? When Joshua took over, 2018, the U.S. sent a list of businesses in Liberia that were fake businesses that were connected to these organizations in the Middle East that the U.S. considered terrorists. 2018, when we had came to office, they did nothing over that. We have went to the Middle East for more than 8 times when you were president. Why? What was the purpose? The people say the people are having businesses in your country. They're not real people. They are attracted to peace. They are attracted to peace. Take care of it. They didn't do it. So I don't know. The Liberian situation is so much that you don't know where to start. But I'm glad that this kind of discussion, this kind of discussion is good, and you guys hit a lot of key things on the head. We need a reset. We need to reset. Let us start pushing. Say, election for what? 6 years of this. Liberia is now, they're going to scrutinize Liberia now. You'll now be, that's a starting.
Thank you.
This is a starting. Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Booty, our time went back 1 hour. We now, I forgot. You guys, you're in Great Britain, you forgot that we changed our times here from time to time. We got daylight time.
I didn't forget, you were just still enjoying himself.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize at the time I changed.
Dr. Booty.
Welcome back, Dr. Booty.
Thank you.
Listen, Sam Wallow has a point here. He says most of the stuff that we are discussing cannot be addressed in 60 days. But we can't eat this elephant whole. We can start from somewhere. He's talking about immigration, biometric system, strengthening the security system in that light. These are some of the things. If we do them and the United States and the world sees that we are putting things in place, at least we stand a good chance. Your take, Doc?
No, I think, I'll try and make it brief. I think I agree with most of the things that Mr. Wallow said. I think what the Liberian government can do, we know our deficiencies as a country. We know that corruption and poor governance will make it difficult to deliver anything within 60 days. The best thing to do is put a proposal together that is realistic, that tells the American that, look, we can't deliver this thing in 60 days, but we can do it in a year. And here are the various deliverables. Here are the milestones. And at each stage, there will be a review of the process to ensure that, one, Liberia is meeting the targets that they set in the proposal that they will put to the U.S. And two, where we're struggling, we can ask the U.S. for help or ask them to support us. I think when you've done project management, normally we talk about easy wins, right? So the easy wins will be, one of the easy wins will be tightening our passport system, who gets passport and things, because that's within our control, and making sure that everyone who has a Liberian passport is a Liberian, and that the Liberian government has a clear understanding. But yeah, I think for me, 60 days is not enough. I was talking to someone offline about it, but we can propose a slightly longer period that is more realistic. And I think if the Americans can see that we are serious about it, that they will be happy to work with us on that front.
Great.
If I may just add real quickly, right?
1 minute, guy. We got 1 minute each. Go ahead, Mr. Namwe.
Listen, I hate to sound this because I don't want our people to become, like a Dixico and go and relax. But this is not even a policy yet. This is just a draft memo. It has not even got to Donald Trump yet. And so, it is not a policy yet. 1. 2, Liberia is not banned. We're not banned. This is not a ban list. And so, but this is a good time, as you're indicating, to begin. It is coming down the pipe. I mean, Donald Trump, as we all know him, it is coming. That is a certainty. But at least it has not started yet, so we got more than 60 days to do it. Now, before I give it back, if you remember back in October, I think it was around the last week in October, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, right? I think she already got wind of this. She recalled all diplomatic passports. I'm sure we all recall that. This is some of the things that she was hearing. These are some of the, the soundings she was getting from the diplomatic corridors. And we believe it was an attempt to address this. Now, the question is, what has happened to that? I have no idea, but I'm going to guess that the problem still persists. That's why now they're trying to put it in a policy form.
Well, listen to this. Listen to this, Mr. Namwe. I'm going to Taiwan next, then we'll close out with your foreign ministry. The entire foreign ministry is fake. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Nyanati, she gave us this long resume or CV, a PhD, and this and that, and found out that she had neither one of those, not even a graduate degree. Then she turned around and said that based on the shenanigan that went on in the weird government, all passports have been stopped. Anybody in possession of diplomatic passport for Liberia was canceled. It was no longer usable, period. On the flip side of that, she turned around and pushed her deputy, a woman who was on a Gray, right? Gray was the target on an investigation for the passport fraud. What did they do? They elevated her. So you want the international community to take her serious that she's doing something. And guess what? After she made that pronouncement, she sold even more passports. Yes. Mr. Towell.
Yeah. So
you know what it is. We've been talking about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me just I don't understand. I think, and this is what the Americans expected to want us to do. Come here and speculate on a lot of things. Because I have never seen anywhere where America listed anything to say you must get drug stuff under control, you should get passport stuff on. They didn't list anything. They just said that they have us and it's possible for them to ban you for 60 days or beyond. If we are familiar with how America and these so-called European countries influence and extract and coerce countries, this is how they do it. It has nothing to do with any of these things specifically. Maybe some might be part of it. But all of the stuff that we're listing, all I keep hearing is diplomatic passport, diplomatic passport. So if this is the area that we know, why can't they say they're going to stop issuing visa to all diplomatic passport holders until they can actually be vetted and proven? Why are they going to the entire population? If you're familiar with America, unless they're trying to force the population to rise up and subvert our government. This is the reality.
But
listen.
A point of correction, 1 minute, 1 second. The United States, let me speak for the US here now. The United States tried our model, our recommendation, do targeted sanctioning. They targeted McGill, Bill Twywick. Guess what the population did? The people say, whether you target the people or not, we will empower them. So they elevated these people. So the American government could be saying, well, I target these people individually, and you're also this time all of you are responsible.
Thank you very much. You just made a connection, Jerry. Thank you.
Can I come here 1 minute?
Yeah,
wait. Let me.
Yeah, 1 minute. Go ahead, close out. Tower, go ahead. You got 1 minute.
Yeah. So you are saying this, but isn't this the same democracy? So the U.S. can't just decide that they sanction somebody out of a certain the Liberia should throw its constitutional way. This is the same democracy. The U.S. sanctioned. What did they prove? Nothing. They couldn't prove anything. It was just allegation. Sanctions are used to force government officials to bend to the will, or government to bend to the will of the U.S. We know that and they themselves said it was political.
So, Mr. Tao, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you really going to tell me? Are you going to tell me that you are not aware of these bad actors in this government?
No, that is not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. Guys, so then let the people, let the government officials in the government be targeted. That is my point I'm trying to make. Not the whole population.
Okay,
they already tried that. It didn't work.
Mr. Twan, close up on this 1 minute.
Yeah, okay. Close on this. Look, all Mr. Towel, everybody talking here, it happened. They know Gabe will be telling you. They all these things with the Liberian government, starting from the Erling government to Bwaka government. They gave these people everything you can think about, to including money, all the projects that you're seeing in Liberia, they already been paying for them. The poverty reduction strategies, you read that. The poverty reduction strategy was a reconstruction program that was supposed to reconstruct Liberia. Okay, the UN approved that. The United Nations is made out of countries that went through war like Liberia, so they don't know what to do. So they put together a plan that they gave to Liberia, the poverty reduction strategy that's supposed to restore electricity, road, running water, just name it. The first phase of that program was $800 million. Okay? What happened? Look, we don't have a credible government that the international community can negotiate with. We have a bunch of criminals sitting behind the desk, So it's so frustrating when you're discussing the Liberian situation, you don't know where to step. Mage is the chairman for the finance committee in the Senate. So tell me now, when Prince Johnson was appointed chairman for the the military
national security,
they threatened sanction. The U.S. threatened that had to pull Prince Johnson away. But you get the oversight responsibility for finances. No, but man, there's so many issues, short time. But every one of you, what you guys, focus on, it's a start. But Mr. Tao, we tried it before. All the thing you're talking about is try it. Even at the UN, they have a program they call Progressive Realization. That's a program they put a country on that is far behind, catching up with their human rights. The Liberia, they didn't respect it. So I don't know what else to say about Liberia. We should support this program that the U.S. is putting out. We should pressurize. Bwaka need to restructure his government. You can't use the same government to enter any new arrangement. Bwaka need to restructure the government. You got, I don't know how many, 17,000 assistant ministers, one or two. I mean, what are you doing that for? So we should aim for supporting the sanctions that they bring it out. We should be vocal. Our support should be vocal. It's no way, because by criticizing the U.S., they're not going to help us. People dealing with their law. They're not going to change their law because of you. You have to change because of them, because you depend on them. Look at $17 million that the U.S. decided to cancel. Look at how it's making the country shaking. $17 million. Well, one person, one corrupt official in Liberia have that money. Nathaniel Mage budget was $20 million. 20. The police were receiving $5 million. Just compare that. Okay, so this is not that. We have to be very strong on the government. Bwaka need to reorganize his government, appoint credible people in that government, so that the international community will see.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Booty, let me start with you on this one. Executive Order number 141. I have listened to political pandering. I have seen ineptitude. You name it. I have never seen anything like this in my lifetime. All of a sudden, the country is going to hell. Our economy is in shambles. Unemployment over 92%. Everything is going south. And the president had the audacity to come up with a new executive order that everybody should register their guns. I mean, do we have gun sellers in Liberia? Do we have gun shows in Liberia? Do we have places where they sell guns? Dr. Booty, maybe you use clairvoyance, do something. I can't understand. What is this one? What is it? Is there a distraction here or what?
Well, the thing, I just came back from Liberia, and let me just say, I ain't get gone there, so I ain't registering. I ain't registering no gun. So, but no, I think
a straight gun law in Great Britain, you can get guns.
No, yeah, obviously, yeah. We know, guns are not. It's not in the UK. You can't really own a gun. Even police officers don't carry it. You have a specific armed response unit for those guys. Look, one would hope that the president had advice from his top security officers that Mr. Tauden, you, Mr. Gaiman, because you were in Liberia recently, you guys got guns in your houses and you ain't want to register with the Liberian government. So there has to be someone that has said to the president that, look, this is an issue, right? Because if a person hasn't said that, or a group of individuals having conducted some research or assessed the situation to say, okay, yes, we have a lot of guns in the country that are unregistered, then it makes no sense, right? It makes no sense that the president. But then, the thing again, I'm stopping myself from continuing the point because, again, are you surprised, Mr. Gaiman, after a year and a bit, and we saw asset recovery, even though we get GSC, LSDC, GGC, CPPCC, then all that, you go and set up asset recovery. They came up with war crime code. They get in 300,000, went into the 300,000 finish. They came up with office or the other thing and office or the other thing and set up railroad authority when we got no railroad network in Liberia. So I'm not surprised that the president will sit down and just come up with something to try and distract the Liberian people. Because let's put this thing on the table, Mr. Gaiman. A few weeks ago, when the U.S. decided to pull USAID aid, the president came up with this show, they can cut government official salaries and stuff like that. I've not heard anything about it since. I don't know if you have. And this might just be a way of trying to distract the Liberian people from asking questions like, oh, you're not cut this salary now? What the money you're saved? How are we repurposing the money you're saved? How is it going to benefit the ordinary people? Is it going to go to these projects that you say was funding? No. Right? So I'm with you on this one, Mr. Gaiman. It might be the president trying to divert from the main issues that are affecting the Liberian people, the things they said they were going to do to address the fall in U.S. funding, they've not done. And now they think, okay, if we top a company, maybe some people get scared because we have war in the country at some point, and then people will forget about the crucial issues of poor healthcare, crucial issue of 3,000 people going to lose their jobs because USAID pulled their funding from the education sector. The crucial issue of the president or the traveling and to nothing going Kanye, but we still paying for travel, So no, I think it's a complete nonsense, right? I don't think gun is an issue in Liberia. We've not heard major situations where unregistered guns have been used to kill people, because normally when you put policies like this out there, it's to respond to some endemic, right? We don't have a gun endemic in Liberia. People are not just shooting people, not like America, right? So no, I think it's another attempt by this president just to confuse the Liberian people because he believes that we're stupid.
Honorable Ducle, you the diplomat here. This one, the Frita method pass mark. This one, there is no way. There are no gun sellers in Liberia. It's not like Florida or the United States where every corner there's a gun store, gun show, gun exhibit. You name it.
Correction, please. Correction.
Go ahead.
There are gun sellers in Liberia.
Okay.
But they are far away from the population. These people have ties with people in the government, so they're not going to take their gun away. Someone coming from the Middle East bring gun. He already has somebody in Liberia that will protect him. So there are people who selling guns.
No, what I'm talking about, do we have legal gun show, gun store, where I can go tomorrow and buy a gun and have it registered?
No.
Okay.
That what we have. 1 second. That what we have. The Summon and Control Commission. Okay. I don't know.
That I know.
Their commission was set up. Send a war. Right at the end of the war, when they sanctioned the arms embargo, all the things, that was our response to the arms embargo that was imposed on Liberia. The Summon Arms Commission.
I understand.
Yeah, what I said.
I know about the Small Arms Commission. Their job is to limit, not to sell. Mr. Dukley, this one, as usual, President Joseph Walker is confused. He's lost. Like I said, he's president in name only. He reads what they put before him. It was time for distraction. You come out and say, everybody should bring their gun and register it, and people just laugh. Who is he talking about? I don't know where that policy came from, Honorable Dukley.
Again, this really speaks to the way the national government has been handling all these issues. First of all, there is not a formal entity in Liberia where, if someone is needing to acquire, or if a gun acquisition is, needed by someone, where you go, you purchase a gun, you register, etc. That's, and I'm speaking about in a formal sense. There's no such entity in Liberia. With that said, I can tell you, and I'm sure many of my colleagues on this panel can attest to this. There are lots of illegal guns that are still in Liberia.
Yes.
And I think the national government is aware of this. And one gentleman was trying to say, that it's far from population centers. Even beyond that, we know at the cessation of hostility in Liberia, not all the weapons were turned in, and we know that.
Absolutely.
Because from time to time there have been threats, people saying that if X, Y doesn't happen, we would do this, and that can only happen because of what they are dependent on in terms of weaponry, in terms of what they have to to carry out whatever they are threatening. But again, it speaks more to me about the failure of this government, the failure of the Joseph Walker government. Because this, from the way the whole thing is rolled out, it's very haphazard in that there is no cohesion in terms of what they are trying to do, what are they trying to communicate to the people, and who are the people who are going to come to register their weapons anyways. So what is the objective they're trying to reach in this instance? I don't see it. It doesn't make sense to me. So normally in a properly functioning entity, you will have an institution charged with registering, accounting for weapons in the country, and that is, you have a national registry, and in that national registry, the serial number, the make of the weapons are going to be there, so that if a crime or whatever is committed somewhere, you can easily trace that weapon to where it came from or where it originated from. I can tell you, for someone who has lived in Canada, I can tell you, look, it's extremely difficult to put your hand on weapons here, legal or otherwise, simply because of the stringent rules that are in place. So in order for you to be able to do that, you must go through all these hoops. And actually, as a matter of fact, at the end of all of that, there is a wait period of, I think, about 90 days where they will be able to sort of check the background of these weapons, the individual applying for it, etc., etc. So, Mr. Gaiman, this is not something that you can just issue a degree and then boom, it gets done. No, it doesn't work like that. There are a lot of steps that need to be put in place in order for this thing to work. So when you're talking about people to register their gun, who are you talking to? Who are you asking to register their guns? And if so, where are these guns coming from? These are all things that need to be in place before you talk about these things. So I really didn't quite understand what the president is talking about and what it is that he's trying to achieve with this mandate.
Great. Mr. Nangwe, when I was in Liberia, they said there were these things. I don't know whether they are guns, but they come from Guinea. It looks like it uses buckshot, like the regular hunting stuff, right? Those things. That's why the armed robbers are using at night, and they are robbing people and all of that. It's not a regular gun. It has no serial number. It has nothing. Those are the things that are causing problems in the country. So when the president announced that, it was so funny that the president is actually making this a decree, okay, an executive order, and saying bring your gun in. And since then, there has been no follow to find out, well, since we made a decree, 10,000 guns were turned in, and these are the serial numbers. Nothing of that. So this is why everybody says, Liberia is another vla. Your take.
Yeah, well, look, this government, and it looks like whenever, something is not working, the next stage is to do another executive order. There is a small arms commission. They have a responsibility. What do they do? I understand. I was trying to look it up. I didn't find it, but I understand personally we already had an executive order in place. So I don't know if this new order is really going to do anything. I think the people who have guns and are causing problems are the people who are legitimately, certified to carry guns. The police and the army, they're the one in the streets fighting people. They are the one threatening security. The armed robbers and all of that. I think if these people were doing their job, I don't think I will have this high incidence of armed robbers. But single barrels, that's what our people use in the interior to hunt. And I think this is going to impose a lot of hardship. How does somebody come all the way from, I don't know whether they're going to have agents deployed throughout the country, but I'm having difficulty imagining somebody coming all the way from Barobo going to wherever they will be required to go and register their small arm. It just seems to me like it is going to be unenforceable. He's given 12 months. We'll see at the end of 12 months. 457 people here were supposed to be fired. We're waiting. I think they were given 30 or 90 days. I don't know. But it is really concerning, all of these proclamations upon proclamations upon proclamations. What do they achieve? I know back, I believe in November or even earlier, there was a personnel management team that was put together. What does it do? Where is it? The asset management people, where are they? Asset recovery people. They spent over $1 million, besides the gracious right. What else have they done? So I don't know if the creation of new commissions and new orders and all these things really will help solve our problem. It's just another opportunity to give people jobs. I was looking up the commission. There are some statutory, directors, but there are other people who are now gainfully employed. I'm not sure if that's not the only objective of this, but let's see. I think they're giving them 12 months. Hopefully, we'll see at the end of 12 months. We'll see what impact this has had. I'm going to go on a limb here and say absolutely nothing. It will change nothing.
Great. Mr. Twan.
Yeah.
2 minutes here. Where is your gun? Why you have not turned in your gun? You from Sano? Or from Cape Town? Where is your gun?
No, we are gun free. That's why the war in Liberia, it didn't spread that much in the southeast. But let me say this. I can name more than 300, proclamation. What do you call it? Executive order. I can name them. These things are worthless. Okay, as I said, let's start with Madam Salif government when people mouth was fresh. That's why we're supposed to have beat our chest. We're not going to do these bad things that brought the war to the country. That's what we should do. That's where the foundation should have been laid. But it didn't happen. We have over 18,000 UN troops in Liberia. That was a good cover for the government to have put in place some, good foundation. No, they didn't do it. So I don't know what else they can do. We need a radical change of that government. The present fund of government and the present people that occupy the offices, they can't be trusted to negotiate. They don't respect them internationally. Okay, you are going to negotiate with Louis Brown. Then you are going to negotiate for anything on the international stage. The Boakai government, since it took power, they have not authored one single human rights policy. One. The Boakai government, the pickiest idea now is Liberia should sit on the UN Security Council. You can't even enforce your own laws in your own country, and you say you want to go set. It's complete mockery, and that's what they're putting all their mind. The UN, Boakai UN visit, he didn't say anything about human rights. His foreign minister, nothing. All they want, Liberia must sit down on the UN Security Council thing.
Yep, and that's a great point, because we heard that Liberia has spent over $5 million trying to get our seat. No voting. Insignificance. Mr. Tower.
Sorry, Mr. Tower coming, right? I think Mr. Nagwe made a point about the fact that a lot of the people causing trouble are armed robbers. So does the president expect the armed robbers to come and register their single barrel card? Right?
Yeah,
is that what we're getting?
This arm.
Okay.
Mr.
Look at
Tower.
what happened here. That from looking at this, Dr. Booty says something, and which is known all over. If you want to solve a problem, if you're trying to have people to register the gun issue, first have a gun problem, and then you draw out the entire scope on what you intend. Then you put that you're going to formulate the policies around concerning this gun stuff, right? But we don't have gun issue in Liberia. Even we talk about the armed robbery, it's still bad. I mean, it's not, whether it's one or two, it's bad, but it's not. I going to Liberia and live there for 7 months, 8 months at a time, 6 months, and I go everywhere, and you barely have that. But look, there are two things that I am going to speculate that this president intends achieving, other than the distraction and all the different stuff. There are two things. One, they're looking for anywhere that they can generate money. They need more money to steal. Gun registration, bring in money. That's one. Two, if they have the intention to target certain people that they may believe that have guns, then you have to create a policy that even though there is already a law on the book, right, that will make it criminal, so then you can then go after those people. And if the president does not, we can just say, oh, the policy will just die. No, it just doesn't die. And this is why. Because once you make that declaration, you make an executive order that is not repealed and is still there, you open up the public to the exploitation of the security forces, the police, the army, and all of these people. Because they're going to be going into the villages and in the towns, seizing people's guns and taking money from them, or anybody that. So you're going to have this kind of chaos that you're going to have that is going to be left out there. So those are the things that I see with this. First, they're looking for money, and they will claim that they're trying to raise domestic revenue. People come register gun, that's money. And if people don't register it, then the people, if I know Mr. X and I'm not in the favor or this person was my opposition, well, what happened? We come over there, we raid the area, we plan a pit, so we say, you see, he violated executive orders, and so you can lock him up. So what he's going towards with this, with no clear layout, is a draconian kind of stuff that they can start targeting people that could be enemies, plant guns, and you can see a lot of chaos in that country.
Thank you. Dr. Budi, I'll begin with you on this one.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me ask you one question. You just coming from Liberia.
Uh-huh.
Did they estimate how many guns are in Liberia?
No.
Okay.
This is
So-
this is what we were saying. That there was no background to say there is a proliferation of arms. We got 10,000 AK-47 or this, nothing of that kind. It just came out of. There were people on the ground in Liberia that are saying the president has performed so badly that he's afraid of his own shadow by first beginning to buy bulletproof vest, a bulletproof $1.5 million bulletproof car for himself and his vice president and all of that. Buy all the bullets. That means he's running from his own shadow, because if you were doing the right thing by the people, you don't need that kind of protection. The people will protect you. Dr. Budi, we got 3,500 potential educated students that were supposed to get into the teaching field that are now suspended. The program is shut down because USAID were paying these people. I mean, it is so embarrassing that our education system, our teaching things that are germane to our well-being, somebody else, we left it in the hands of somebody else, and the person refused to pay, and all of a sudden, our whole education improvement stopped. Kaput is finished. Dr. Budi.
I think sorry for my voice. I came back from Liberia, so I kind of cough.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Nambe wanted.
No, man, we all understand.
Too much enjoyment, Dr. Budi.
Save it for Mr. Nangwe. I beg you, don't say anything on this. No, Mr. Tao will probably smile about what I'm about to say, right? Because I think this issue of outsourcing the education of the Liberian people to third party has been one of the mainstays of Liberian government in terms of the formation. So from Charlie Quinta, when our Americo-Liberian elites came to Liberia and established the republic, they didn't invest the kind of interest that a government should invest in the education of its people, right? And they left it to missionaries, they left it to the church to educate people. So you had churches opening schools across the country, and if they didn't, we wouldn't have the so-called level of educated Liberians that we have today. Some of us, and our parents and generations after. And this is no different, right? It's a shame. I was thinking about it today when I read topics, right? Now, sitting there and thinking, a country that is 170 something years old, that has had so many years opportunities to basically think about how to address our major issues. In Liberia, I remember, I was in Liberia at some point during President Sirleaf regime, working in there, and a lot of the top jobs within the development sector were going to foreigners. Not necessarily because they were the best available, but because we didn't have enough Liberian people with the expertise to fill these roles. So they had to bring people from outside to come and fill these roles. You go into hospitals in Liberia, whether it be EAW hospital or whatever, you see a lot of foreign doctors, right, in these hospitals as well. Because again, we don't have the manpower. And that is because we've neglected our education system. The same thing we're doing to agriculture now. People are neglecting agriculture. Everybody wants to consider a mortgage and take whatever $100, $200 from the Liberian government as paycheck. But what I would say is, look, every time that we get presented with an opportunity, right, this is an opportunity for Liberia. When the United States government says to us that, look, we ain't giving you money anymore to run your education system, it's an opportunity for Liberia. Look, you can say whatever you want to say about Donald Trump in the US, but at least he's trying something, right? Yes, people are losing jobs, but the US government is very bloated. He came in, he said, no, this thing is not correct. We need to take some of the bloat out of it. Again, he might be going out it the wrong way. People have their opinions on it. But those are the kind of things you expected Joseph Boakai to do. When he came to power, say, okay, you know what I mean? Let's look at this thing in a holistic way. There are areas of our country that needs addressing: healthcare, education, agriculture, because we need to be able to feed ourselves, right? And roads, infrastructure. So what we're going to do is repurpose the money. Don't be giving the people 15,000, 16,000, 12,000, give central bank governor 50,000. Why? What kind of policies they're setting so much at this central bank that you take all that money, you give it to one person? Money that could be used to pay 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teachers, right? You take it, you give it to one human being. One senator's monthly salary could probably pay about 20, 30 teachers, but one senator will carry 15,000. So what is the essence of the president? The change now. They say, Joseph and Joe, we are messed the thing up. We agree. You're moving from there. We'll give it to you with the 42 years experience now, my man. Come in 18 years, look at the problem and address it. Look, this government, we ain't got money, they say, but we're still able to pay 73 representatives over 10,000 every month. We're able to pay 30 senators 15,000 a month. We definitely have money, right? We can pay a central bank governor 50-something thousand a month. That we got money. Cut these things down and keep the ordinary people in jobs, because those are the people who make the economy to tick. Because if you give central bank governor more money, he's saving our money. That man rich. He's been working at IB Bank for almost 50 years. He's rich, right? That money, he's just adding it to a bank balance. He's doing nothing with it. So the money is not turning in the economy. But if you pay these 3,000 Liberians with that money, they will go buy rice. They will go buy fish. And that money will then go through the business people, and the government will be able to generate income, and the economy start to turn. So the president, some of the things that we're talking, they need to listen. And they need to implement them, because they're not hard work. It's easy to do.
Great. Mr. Twan, you've been in this politics for so long. Tell me, what is the responsibility of a government if they are not responsible for their own education, their own health care? What is the responsibility of Liberian government?
What the general responsibility of a government is one that is responsible enough to sign international treaties, one that is responsible enough to protect its citizens. Those are the fundamental foundation of a government, and this is where our government is failing. Please, folks, let us not focus on Joseph Boakai. No. What the problem we are facing right now is started long before that. The only problem is that Mr. Boakai witnessed all these things for 47, 50 years in the government. He knows where all the bodies are buried. Okay? I was very involved in this last campaign. I dealt with all kinds of, and one of the things they were saying that Boakai had executive experience. That was their selling point. So the other people, I was supporting Alexander Cummings at the time. They say Alexander Cummings didn't have executive experience. Executive vice president for Coca-Cola, he didn't have executive experience. But Boakai had executive experience. So, Mr. Boakai, when will the Liberian people start feeling and benefiting from this executive experience? Okay, we're going to wake up one day, folks, and Liberia will be no more. Watch this. If we continue watching the country, that is not a privileged thing. Okay, he won an election, but he's not doing well, let him get out. Okay, you can't insist that because someone won election, so they won't be there. That's what we do. We did it with George Weah. Look at the country, folks. The young man who the president for Burkina Faso, you know what he did recently? He was able to employ 80,000 people one day. And the broad machine, you talk about, agriculture. That's the thing what guys should have done. I think how many several $1 million worth of tractors, and he brought he brought it in the country. Joseph Boakai will be the guru for agriculture. What he's doing. So I'm of the opinion right now, let's cut our losses. We need to restructure Mr. Boakai, the Liberian government, whether it's an interim arrangement. One of you said, let's pause. Yes, we need to pause. You know, these people in power, they will not give in voluntarily. I'm sorry. You know, they are making money and they are getting away with murder. So if you people want to, people want to be, oh man, if he were elected, let's wait for election time. As I said, that's not a solution. If you are if you are elected government that don't respect the laws, why should they benefit from the law? By saying, oh, don't do anything because they were elected. So the U.S. recent action, the U.S. they're no longer looking at the government. They're looking at the citizens. Okay? And this sanction we're talking about, if you think it's bad, watch it. It's going to be more things coming. 60 days, 60 days. The only thing we can do 60 days to build confidence in that country is to bring down this government and replace it with an interim government. That would be the most radical move we can make for the international community to accept. But they say these same criminals are in the country. One anything that will be they will be the same people that will go negotiate and tell that people, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Honorable Ducle. Let's go to the last on our agenda here. Give us an update on the legislature, the Bill of Information from the Supreme Court pending. What is your gut feeling? Because I want you to be honest here, because we know the separation of state. We know the responsibility of each. The legislative body makes the law. The judiciary, I think they actually translate the law. But it is the executive that has the onus of implementing what the judiciary says the law is. What happens if the judiciary, the Supreme Court comes out and say, for that Kofa, as they did with the ultra-virus thing, everybody who knew it knew what it meant. Now they will be clever to say, you know what? Kofa is the legitimate and only speaker of the country, and the executive ignores it. Update us. What is your gut feeling? What do you think will happen? And what will be the consequence of that?
Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. I didn't really have time, the opportunity to weigh in about 3,500 student thing. We just ended, but it's okay. It's kind of confusing on the one hand, and on the other hand, you don't have to be a magician to actually read what to expect, because I think we've been here before. I think this Supreme Court has done something similar to what they're up against right now. And the unfortunate thing is the Joseph Boakai government seems to be on the side of the so-called majority bloc. And they've gone out of their way, even though even the ECOWAS has flatly rejected that notion of the so-called majority bloc. And again, we've said it on this platform numerous times. Konati Kofa is the legitimate Speaker of the House of Representatives. Yet, he might not necessarily have the support of all the people that he's supposed to have in order to maintain that legitimacy in the House. But looking at the history of our Supreme Court, and things they've done in the past, I can tell you right now, they are just going to come up with a decision that is going to be in favor of the government, which is the majority bloc. And here I'm purely speculating here based on what I've seen the Supreme Court done in the past and what this Joseph Walker government has done in the impact that is now going on in the House of Representatives. So, in fact, there was some speculation some time ago that this whole thing was started from the vice president's office. I don't know how true is that, but that was said. It was put out there. So whatever you're going to see the Supreme Court do is going to be in line with exactly what the Joseph Walker government wants, which is to try to find a way to legitimize the illegitimate group of people who are trying to steal this speakership from Funati. You know, we have been here before, Mr. Gaiman. This is not the first time, and I said it from the very beginning of this the very beginning of this saga. I said that in the end, I don't think Funati is going to retain his position, and simply because this has become a precedent setting when they remove Alex Tyler, and then they also did the same thing to what's his name, Edwin Snow. So the precedent has already been established. This is just in line of what that has been established. Again, like I said, this thing is going to end with a group that has the deepest pocket. And as things stands right now, it looks like the breakaway group, which is the so-called majority bloc, they are the one who have deep pocket. I mean, they even had
a point of input here with our yellow card or our warning that within the next 60 days, all of these things should be put in order. You think they're going to blatantly disregard this and just do as they choose?
The yellow card, whatever card it means absolutely nothing to them. What matters to them is their pocket and their pocket alone. They couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be a political genius to know that. I mean, this problem should not have been extended to this point, but because the people who are involved in it and people who know where the solution lies, and the solution would simply mean some of them would be out of favor, so they wouldn't want to pursue that route. You know, I mean, why? Even the ECOWAS said this group is not legitimate. The legitimate speaker of the House is Funati Kofa. The law is on his side. The Constitution is on his side. But that doesn't serve the purpose of the Joseph Walker government. And so you can see that in every way possible, they align themselves with the breakaway group. What does that tell you? It tells you that this nation of ours is not a law-abiding nation. This is a nation that doesn't respect its own law.
Thank you. Ms. Otawo, we have here, this is coming to a head here where if we are not careful, if Liberia is not careful, we are in a dangerous space. Your take on the Bill of Information.
So I will just spend only 1 minute on it because we're running out of time. And I will use 30 seconds of my time to about 3,000 students in the education. And then I will go over. Since I came here, it's been a year and a half since I've joined this program. I asked this question, that no sound-minded country would allow the 3 critical pillars of the survival of any people, your education, your health, and agriculture, to be taken over and controlled by somebody that we need to tell the United States, no, leave these things out. But it was by design. It was not by accident. This was meant to weaken you so that you producing people that are useless. The United States, they say they spend all kinds of money in your education. After 20 years, look at it. It's a lie. They stole from their own people, pocketed it, gave small money around, and then they destroy your agriculture so that they can sell you food. These are the policies. This is not some kind of fallacy. And they want to make sure your health system is bad. So that because if you have a weak population, nobody can rep people, sick people, hungry people are not educated. This is the whole thing. I've been raising it here. I was crucified for a whole year. That I'm this, I'm that the United States is still the best. The people don't care about you. They don't even care about what you do to your own people. It is all about their interest. They only talk. But look at the action. It's not what they say. So this is where we arrive now. What happened? They pull out of there because they leave you handicapped. Why would the United States want to subsidize the salaries of the government officials higher than their own representatives and senators? And then they tell you, no, don't put money in. Just steal it. We will take care of these places. It was meant to handicap you. That's a result we are seeing. They told you that they put $1 billion in 12 years in agriculture. It was written in the USDA website. Where was the $1 billion investment? It's all lie. They stole from their own people. If you're looking at what's going on here with the USAID dismantling, that is what the Trump administration is pointing out. That the money was fictitiously purposed and it was siphoned off. So that's it. But look, when they come to the bill, look at what happened here. I really have no interest in this stuff. The legislation should be disbanded. Look, we've been saying this. They want to, those guys, it doesn't matter what the ruling is. The criminals will still be in power, whether it's the Fanatic Kofa group or the majority black. And Liberia will still be held hostage by them. We keep making reference. So look at the young man in Burkina Faso. The young man in Burkina Faso is not running the corrupt Western democratic stuff that they are pushed on you. That is not what he's running. If you're running it, he can never make the headway that he's making.
Yeah.
So in short, I've been saying it here, the structure in our governing system need to be dismantled. We need to re-examine it, put one in place that will work for us. That's just it.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, if I have to admit, this young man have been saying this from day one. He said, as long as the foundation is crooked, you can build 10 other stories on the top, it will be crooked no matter how many. Honorable Namwe, we are at the end of our time. You got 2 minutes to wrap all up and close.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't have a chance to chime in.
I'm wrapping up too.
No, that's what I'm saying.
My man, you left your rapper in Liberia when you bring it by your
That's right. And make sure you bring your story. Yes, everybody going to have a chance to close. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So quickly on the teacher situation, you know, when some of us sat down here and we were sounding the warning on the stop order from the U.S. and its potential implications. There were others on this very set who said, you know, we're blowing things out of proportion. The effects are yet to be felt in totality. What we are seeing here are just bits and pieces of it. We will continue, we'll renew our call to the government of Liberia. They need to gather, take steps to mitigate this, or else a lot of pain and a lot of suffering will result from this. The 3,500 teachers, you know, right now they're languishing. No one has any idea what is it going to become of them. And these people are badly needed. I was just reading here, we have an estimated 15,000 teachers in Liberia, about 7,000 or so of them are volunteer teachers who were just going through training like these 3,500 teachers were doing to become certified teachers so that high school graduates will not teach high school graduates, you know, because I understand some of the people with just the C certificate are teaching high school graduates. This is part of the problem. You know, and I will urge all, if you have the time, go back to yesterday's program at 2 p.m. Eastern, play one. You know, he enumerated some of the stuff that they're obvious here, they're happening here, but we may not be practicing in Liberia, you know. It will help. Certification process, how a teacher becomes certified. Even when you become certified, how you maintaining your certification, how you stay current with best practice. You got to continue to go through continuing professional development. All of these little things, they're very, very, very minimal to achieve. and they become much smoother over time when you begin to practice them. Our people need to pay attention. I believe you want to also talk about the situation at the Capitol building. Moving on, we're all waiting. The bill of information. I think the Supreme Court conducted a hearing, I believe, on Friday. We're waiting to see. Hopefully tomorrow, they will come out with a ruling. We're not sure yet. But my concern is, look, the Supreme Court has actually gone out of their way to telegraph to us what they intended, given their absence from the State of the Nation, given Besse's interpretation, given the soon-to-retire Chief Justice expression of remorse over some of her decisions and other things. It is almost obvious that they're going to come down on the side of the rule of law. The question is, will the regime lawmakers respect the decision of the court? And that's where we will have to see whether the Supreme Court will now move and hold these people in contempt, whether the executive will finally grow the spine to reinforce the law and protect the Constitution. Those are some of the things we're beginning to ponder. But we're waiting with bated breath. Let them come out with a decision and let's see what happens. But this thing that's happening at the Capitol building, the executive really plays a major role here in helping to resolve this or to perpetuate it. I think the ball is going to be in the court.
Thank you. Mr. Tao.
Closing. Okay,
Yes.
so guys, I'm glad to be here. This was a very good show. Mr. Patrick England, welcome, and to all our viewers. But look, this is what I want to say. We continue to do the same thing over and over, and we're going to get the same result. People who colonize you, or people who believe that they are blessed, but their God placed their blessing in your land, and they should just walk there and get it. By whatever means necessary, give your form of governing structure, educational system, that if these things were good enough, would make you to compete with them. And since you had the resources, actually displace and outcompete them, and you want to believe that what they gave you was actually meant for your own good, no other people in the world believe that. Other people are colonized. What they did was they abandoned, they completely dismantled the colonial system. They restructured one based on the culture and the tradition. Everybody have history. Everybody have a way of leading themselves. We never ask the question, what type of governing system did our people have before the Europeans came? When Africa ruled the world and dominated, and everybody came to school in Africa, how did they rule? What type of God did we worship? We don't ask this question because we have been told that's uncivilized. That only to be Western, that is what considered. So here we are. And we are going to struggle with this continuously. Every time we come here, this is it. We're not asking the right questions. Because most of us here, we have been ordained by the Western system that I have my degree. Our values and our self-worth is attached to those things. So to try to dismantle the stuff, what happened? We are losing ourselves. And the fear of that, we want to try to maintain that, we want to try to make it work some kind of way. No, it never worked. It was never designed to work for you, and it would never work for you. To close, the Constitution, I will keep mentioning. In the Constitution, the preamble, it says, the government is the arm of the state, ARM. And we mistook that stuff to be the arm to like protect. No, sometimes the arm form of fist and they punch you or slap you. That is what the government did to the Liberian people. Are close.
Thank you. The Honorable Diplomat Dukley. I won't call it white guy. I said Dukley.
Hey, you don't want to confuse people, yeah, right?
Yeah. I don't want because that need an ultra-virus. Everybody running away from it. Go ahead.
Very toxic.
Thank you, Mr. Gaiman, and I want to say thank you and my appreciation to all my fellow panelists. You know, I really wanted to drill down a little bit on this 3,500 teachers thing here. Mr. Gaiman, it's very unfortunate. It's very sad. You know, I read through the story, and there were a gentleman who were talking about how he was just about to graduate, and he needs only, I think, $288 to graduate. I mean, that's what he needs. And so I think Dr. Bodhi touched on something like what I'm going to say now. You know, the waste that these people have in the government, the way they go about running this government, some of the things that they have come to normalize. I mean, I don't even think we couldn't do this without the USAID assistance. I don't think so. But for somebody to go through this program, and because of $288, he or she wouldn't be able to complete a program. It's very unfortunate to say. It's very, very unfortunate. And I think this falls on the government. It just speaks to the inability of the government to cater to the critical needs of its people. Some of these teachers, some of these people are already at the end of their program. They're at the end of their training. And so I think the financial means is available. It's within the government. If they actually want to do this, the funds are there to make sure that they take care of these 3,500 students who are about to graduate. And, you know, from time immemorial, the government has always neglected its own responsibility when it comes to education, you know, throwing in the hands of the missionaries, the churches, you name it. But I think this one that I think the Liberian people are not going to forgive them if actually these 3,500 students are not able to complete that program, because there is no justification for it. There's no reason for it. They should not be victims of poor governance. I mean, we kept saying we want this country to develop. And I have always been one of those who says the development of Liberia has to start from our education. We have to redo everything in a way that will reflect our current reality. We haven't done that in many areas, but I think we need to start doing that from education, so that our education system reflects our current situation and all the things that we are dealing with. You know, so it's very unfortunate that these students will be victims of bad governance. I just couldn't understand why, you know, somebody who needs only $288 to graduate from that program, and they're not going to be able to graduate because of $288. It's just a very mind-boggling.
Thank you. Mr. Twan, our guest, we usually give you a welcome here. And that water does not a pure key you from your town. They want that pure water. Your closing set.
Well, there's what going on in the legislature. I can take any side. Those two guys are crew people. I'm a crewman too. So if I take one side, nobody can accuse me of being, you know, troubleless. But let me say this: I don't think we have to be bold and be very forward with this. Fanatic Kofa, I don't support his stand. Okay? You see, there's something they call precedent that you have to follow. Fanatic Kofa will appoint elected speaker by majority of the legislature. He came out as deputy speaker, majority, and then speaker, majority. So why now the majority is a problem? You see, the Constitution, those that follow me will see, from the early start of Fanatic Kofa campaign to be speaker, I said we need some legislative reforms. Some legislative reforms include the Constitution. Do you know the Constitution call for impeachment? But how to get to the point, it was the same legislators that are supposed to create that. Okay? That's you know, in the US they say misdemeanor and high treason. they will impeach you. In Liberia, the Liberian said, "Oh, that gap have not been filled." Another example is the code of conduct. The code of conduct might not necessarily brought about it at any of her term. That's something should have been put in the Constitution long time ago. My point I'm raising here is Fonati Kofa knew this was coming. When he became speaker, he should have got to work right away and try to put in place, some guidelines that would. No, he didn't do it. He didn't do anything. So majority rule, as I'm committed to majority rule. Mr. Kofa, thank you for what he did, whatever he did, but it's time that we move on. What his name, Kun. The pressure now will be on Kun. If he don't come out in the way that they'll get rid of him too. Yeah. And the next legislation, when everything quiet down, they need to create the threshold for impeachment. What you should do that will constitute impeachment conduct. They did not do that. Because right now it's all subjective. And then they hang on the majority rule. Of course, majority rule. My other point I want to make is I also disagree with the Supreme Court. What they're doing, they're interfering into an issue that is an internal matter of the legislature. It's a separate branch. Impeachment is not something new. Okay? Impeachment is very subjective, but you cannot appeal that. You can't do it. Donald Trump could appeal his impeachment 2-3 times, because that's the politics. The majority rules. That's the consequences of election. Blaming Mr. Boakai, all that thing. Mr. Boakai had every right to want to see his party. No, that's politics. And not something weird. Hey, if I were president, look at the U.S. What Mr. Trump is doing now. He put the people in. He's using that responsibility at winning the election to put in together his cabinet. So what Mr. Boakai, whether he's true or not, trying to want to see his party member becoming Speaker of the House of Representatives, that's politics. When they say election have consequences, that's what it means.
Thank you.
So let's take with the majority rule. The Supreme Court will be blamed no matter what happened. They interfere too much.
Thank you. Dr. Booty, your closing.
Oh yeah, thank you. And I think I'm going to spend all my closing probably pushing back on my crew brother here, because I think he said a lot of things. He said a lot of things that are very inconsistent and basically doesn't even come close to what the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia said. The first irony I want to talk about has nothing to do with what he said. Is the fact that Article 49 that deals with the removal of the Speaker is the number 49, and the number that they needed to get to was 49 to get rid of Kun. So 49, 49. Right. Yes. Now, let's put it this way. Honorable Tuan, the Constitution in Article 49 says very clearly that the Speaker or the Deputy Speaker can only be removed by 2/3 majority vote. 49 of 73 members have to vote to remove him before he can be removed. They never got to 49. The majority block is 43. I have said on this show multiple times, if those people had 49 votes, they were going to present the articles in the chamber under the gavel of Fonati Kofa because they had the numbers to remove him. They did not have the numbers. That's why they kept doing the rebel idea and doing riot running, so going to hotel, going to that. They did not have the numbers. So let's get that correct, right? That's right. They did not have 49. And because they did not have 49, they tried to circumvent the rule, right? Yes. To hold the country hostage wasted 3 months of Liberian poor money, over 1.5 million. We pay those idiots to sit there and do nothing. So when you say something like that, it's painful to people who have lost their children, who has lost their family members to illnesses, hunger, that 1.5 million could have gone towards saving their lives, right? So please consult the Constitution and then understand the Constitution. And then when you say these things, we can then say, okay, let's have a conversation. Now, on the issue of the Supreme Court, and I'll end on this, the Supreme Court is an equal core branch of the Liberian government. There are 3 branches to our government, and each branch has a responsibility to check the other branch, right? Each branch has a responsibility to check. The Supreme Court cannot intervene. The job of the Supreme Court is to interpret the Constitution of Liberia. That's their job. When the legislature says, the other English there in the Constitution, I understand. Who can explain the English? Or, Supreme Court. Yeah, they don't want to know how to explain that English. That is the job of the Supreme Court of Liberia. That's their only job. Their only job, the only thing they can do in the Republic is interpret the Constitution. So if the Supreme Court comes out, and I'm going to push back a bit slightly on Mr. Nangwe here, I do not expect any other thing from the Supreme Court than to say, Mr. Kuhn, you're an idiot. All those 43 people behind you are a bunch of idiots. You better carry your stupid self back and go sit on for Nati Kofa, because he is the legitimate speaker of the Republic of Liberia. That is the only outcome, because the English in there is so simple. 2/3. 2/3. It means when you tell one thing, you divide it into 3. You take 2 or 8, you add it together, that the number there. You don't have to go to school to understand what 2/3 means. There is no other interpretation that the Supreme Court can come up with. So whether the person said it's Cyril, the person said it's Cyril, there is one. Any other interpretation will mean that they think the Liberian people are stupid, and it will be something that the Liberian people need to get up and protest about. There is no 2 ways to explain it. It's clear. Go and read Article 49. 2/3. You don't get 2/3, he's not removed. The difference, Mr. Twain, that you talk about with precedents, Snow resigned.
No.
Tyler resigned.
Yes.
Konati Kofa did not resign. That's not precedence, right? They pressure those other 2 people to resign. He said, I will stand for the rule of law. I am not resigning. So it's not precedence, right? That precedence is where they have removed them with less than 2/3. They've never removed a speaker with less than 2/3 because that would be illegal. Those 2 people decided to resign because the pressure was too much for them. Let's get the facts correct. Let's not fool the Liberian people.
No, Dr. Budi, excuse me. Just give me a minute.
Gentlemen, we are closed. Everybody got to close.
Just give me a minute. Give me a minute.
No, Mr. Twan.
I need to respond to what you said about the Constitution.
Mr. Twan, when we say you close, when we say you close,
I don't want no.
Next Sunday,
I don't want people to leave from here with the impression that I don't know the Constitution.
Mr. Twan.
Okay, they have way of interpreting the Constitution that sometimes don't go with reality. Okay.
Well, Mr. Twan, don't say that. Let's close this thing. So you're going to dig a hole that you can't get out of. You're digging a hole. The Constitution is simple English.
Let us not go there. We are close. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Why are you getting paranoid? Because you said
we have done very well.
Why are you getting paranoid? I want to show you that I know the Constitution.
Listen, guys.
What's your point?
The show has ended. Thank you very much. Mr. Twan, next Sunday, right here, 4 o'clock, Mr. Twan is going to be here. We're going to discuss this. But Dr. Budi, you are absolutely on point.
I know the Constitution, sir.
Dr. Budi, absolutely, you are on point. The 2 prior speakers you are talking about, they were never removed illegally. They were pressured with a gun to their head to sign a letter of resignation. Basically, that's what happened. So there were no precedents set for bad removal. The bad precedent would have been that Ellen put gun to somebody's head and say, sign the piece of paper under duress.
Mr. Gilman, just give me 30 seconds. I just need 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
That is a subjective analysis.
My 30 seconds, look, what the point I'm making here, Dr. Budi, is that it does not matter whether they resign or they were forced.
It matters because it's
when you use the word precedent, Precedence me, and that happened before.
Ladies and gentlemen, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Okay, never mind.
We gotta go, guys. It was a great show, guys. Let's do this again next Sunday. Same
Never
time.
mind.
It's gonna be 4 o'clock. Let's be here, guys. Let's do that next Sunday.
Now, Jerome, can I have 5 seconds?
Go ahead.
No, I want to formally welcome Dr. Booty back. We make our jokes, but we missed him, and it's good to have him back. I also want to extend my sympathies. We lost Dr. James Tape, I think today or yesterday. That's another, academic luminary that we lost in Liberia. So may his soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, if it's Sunday, 4 o'clock Eastern time, it is on point, and we look forward to seeing Mr. Twan next week for us to have a debate here.
And please web your link, my man. Don't make it too screen. Web your link.
That camera from Walmart, you need about a real camera. Thank you very much. Guys, as usual, we always say we are all Liberian, no matter where you come from. You could be from Stino, Grand Bassa, wherever. We are all Liberians.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.